Today, as you can see on the screen right there, we're doing something a little different. We're going to be hand reading 3 different ranges today. 3 simultaneous ranges, 1 hero and 2 villains. So as you can see on the filter right here, merge network, hands went to showdown, and at showdown we have 3 players. Now this highlighted hand is the one that we did on day 24. So I looked here yesterday, there wasn't any good EP hands, multi-way showdown EP hands to look at. Yeah, as you can see, I mean, sorting it by river, and there's no river turn action at all. Not a good one. MP, that one hand that we did on day 24 was the only one, so let's look in the cutoff here. Look for some hands with some decent action. Oh, really? Check, 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 check. Raise, raise, bet, call, so it looks like we're all in on the flop there with no other actions. That's no good. Check out the button. Oh, okay, great. So when we're on the button, there's a lot more action-y, a lot of checking on a lot of these hands here. Raise, bet, check, check. Well, there's a call, call, call hand that looks to be as action-packed of a hand as we can get. So we're going to have to check it out. So I am not going to be using split suits hand reading templates today because with 3 ranges there aren't any templates, and I don't want to, or templates for that. And I don't want to try to cobble together 2 templates right now. So we'll just put the hand up here. As always, we got the 3 Flopzilla windows. So this is how we're going to do it. Heroes range up here. Villain 1 and Villain 2, these 2. And of course, because we have all these Flopzilla windows, we need hold EQ at the same time to tie them all together. And you can see they've already been tied together. So Heroes range, King 3 up here, 4 deuce suited, and then the Queen 8 offsuit. Good, good, good. So let's go ahead and get to reviewing here. Limp. And on the button, I choose to limp instead of isolating this player. So my hand has hardly any value. I probably need to flop something. It's probably like 6-7 suited, Jack 9 suited, something like that. It was just a hand where I didn't feel like isolating. Oh, and there were 4 ways. Let's take a look real quick. Okay, he drops out. So the big blind drops out. So we're left with Katie and, oh, wow. Katie and Cat Eyes Gal. Looks almost like Katie's gal. Wow, so this is going to be a pretty passive pot, at least for me. So, first off, what am I limping and no other action? So what am I limping with here? Or limping behind range, what is it? I'm isolating 9s, I'm isolating 8s. I'm often isolating 7s. 6s and below, I could just be calling here. I don't like these for isolations. I mean, for limping behind. Well, Jack 10 offsuit, I could. I don't like it, but occasionally I'll call with these just to try to see a cheap flop and hit something. I don't like that I do that, but sometimes it happens. So I'm limping behind. Limp, 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 limp. Man, I'm often raising 10, 9, 9, 8. I'm often raising those right here. And I don't like limping with any of these. Some of these suited kings, okay, I can see myself limping behind with them. Suited queens, some of these jacks, these 3 gappers or double gappers here. Yeah, so this is going to be my range, a pretty wide range and a pretty weak range. You can see, I mean, all the pairs 6 or below. No broadways other than the crappiest offsuit broadways are in. It's just really a bad range to be playing. I would much rather, even if this was my range, I'd much rather raise here to isolate him as opposed to just limping behind. Yeah, I just don't like it at all. What are the stacks here? 80 big blind stack, 100, and then a 40 big blind stack. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, but it is possible I might have limped behind with these, although I don't like the play. Now, let's see here. KT is the one who limps in the small blind. Let's put KD down here, and we're going to give this a very wide range. KD so far is tight, passive, no raises out of 42 hands. Probably all calling. That's probably just a call as well. 10s might be raising, but it could be a call. And then jacks will say is raising or calling. Because we're thinking about their overcalling range. Jacks are probably overcalling. Queens are better or raising. Ace jack is calling, calling, calling. Maybe even the ace-queen is calling and ace-king. I just don't really know enough. I've got to keep the range pretty darn wide here. Let's give every suited card. Yeah, so this is going to be interesting. I mean, we're looking at super wide ranges here from every player. Yep. So let's say that, look at that, 64%. I don't often assign such wide ranges pre-flop to players, but it's totally possible. Tight and a passive player, just calling in the small blind with a big discount, can be every suited. Maybe ace-queen could ISO raise out of position here, but at the same time, maybe just call in to hope to flop something good, and then bet at the pot because they're out of position. So I'm going to keep the ace-queens in their calling range right there. And then Pooonz, of course, we know checks, but is folding on the flop. So the other player that we're thinking about is Cat Eyes Gal 1, which is a limping range right here. Now, it's interesting. Some players, let's see how many hands we have. 131. Let's see if Cat Eyes Gal has any limp raising at all. 0 limp raising, limp folding, limp calling, only 1 out of 3. Yeah, we can't really learn much about their limp percentage. Only 16% limping. Any limp from the EP, 17%, 2 out of 12. Let's not give the widest of limping ranges. Let's give, whoops, wrong button. Let's give kind of a more narrow limping range. Now, we don't really know much about this player. It's possible they're limp raising with aces and kings. We do want to keep those ones in. Let's keep all the suited aces in as well. Let's not go down this low. Every pair. Let's give all the broadways. You know, I'm good. I'm good with this kind of range right here. 22%, 300 combos, 294 combos. Yeah, that's a pretty good range right there. So we've got a 4-way to the flop on a 7-deuce-6 heart, diamond, diamond. 7-deuce-6 heart, diamond, diamond. Great. So on this flop right now, let's look at hold EQ. So it's running a Monte Carlo simulation. I'm sure it's run millions of simulations already. Let's pause it. Our super weak range is actually a 30% favor. We're all roughly the same, 30, 32, and 37. And you can see the 37% is our initial limper, because who knows what they're capable of. They could be limp. The plan could be to limp raise with aces, kings, and queens. So we've got to keep those in the range. For our small blind player, I highly doubt queens are better. And for myself, I mean, you can see all those pretty decently strong cards that I would normally be ISO raising with. I chose not to, so I've got a pretty crappy range myself. So on this, stop. Okay, yeah, good. So on this flop, we're looking at 30% equity, 37 and 32 for the other two players. Let's see what the action is. Katie min bet, so just one into a limped pot anyway. Holy cow. This was Katie down here. So what is Katie min betting into this pot with? Now, it's a hard to hit flop. So Katie could be just trying to make a super weak bluff right there. Or it could be a bet trying to get, like with a set of deuces, set of sixes, or even two pair, 7-6, trying to get a raise out of us. So I think sets can min bet. It's such a tiny pot. A min bet is possible here. Middle pairs, weak pairs could be doing it. Ace highs could be doing it as sort of a super weak bluff right there. Gut shots, overcards, 2-card backdoors, gut shot plus overcards. No made hand. Let's leave those off. So let's limit the range just a tiny bit here, 91% of hands, which is basically everything. I mean, it's just throwing a quarter to win a buck. They're a short stack player to begin with, so they might be a very weak player. In a min-donk lead into a pot is often a weak player's play. Could be going for some value, hoping we raise and comes over the top. But we'll at least give every single card, because it is possible at this point. And then Cat Eyes Gal decides to make the call. What does Cat Eyes Gal what does she just call with here? Now, she's got a full 80 big blind stack, and I've got her covered right here. So she wants our money. She really does. I am not going to say that she's calling with her sets. I think now it is possible. She's very loose passive. Folds or c-bets only 33% of the time, so pretty flop honest here. As the c-better at least. I'm going to take sets out of the range because it's a perfect time, even just to raise it to 75 since 3 big blinds. You know, you've got to start building a pot when you flop such a strong hand on such a hard to hit board. So sets are not in. 2 pair, nope, not in either. Those are raising. With the 2 diamonds on the board, I think they're raising to get value. for any kind of flush draws too. Over pairs. Now, this is our player that could have been planning on limp raising. So, planning to limp raise with aces, kings, and queens is just fine. But now calling a tiny min bet with a strong overpair on this board, it feels like such a terrible play to me. I've got to be taking out the strongest hands from these ranges. Now, you'll often see players playing 8s and 9s very passively. 8s and 9s have backdoor kind of draws here as well, maybe hoping to hit something on the turn before they put any extra money in with just a weak overpair. So I can see these hands just calling here. Top pairs, totally just calling. I mean, yeah, it's a top pair with an ace kicker, but it's really not that strong of a hand, especially given that, you know, the turn can come a 10, a jack, a queen, a king, and then this player doesn't know what to do at that point. So they could be just calling with middle pairs. Weak pairs, I can see those calling one street at least with some kind of a backdoor straight draw. Ace highs, it's only a quarter. Yes, those could be calling as well. Flush draws, open-enders, gut shots. See, I can't even say that flush draws, it's possible that they'd be raising, but oftentimes they are just calling, especially these passive players. Overcards could possibly call. 2-card backdoor flush is calling as well. Look at that. Gut shot plus overcards, yeah. So this player is calling 85% of their pre-flop range. So playing so passively has not allowed us to narrow their range at all. They've kept it pretty darn wide. They've taken out the best hands, so they've capped their range, but it's still very wide. And then, of course, what happened was we simply call right here. So definitely no sets, definitely no 2 pairs. I mean, I don't think I even have top pair. Now, you know, actually it's king 7, queen 7. Yeah, I possibly have a top pair just for calling. I don't like it, though. I would prefer a raise here with those. So I'm actually going to take those out of my range. With those, I prefer because it's such a high card kicker. Jack 7. Actually, I think 8-7. I think I'd be raising all of these. Now, these weaker. Oh, ace 7 as well. Let's take that out. So maybe 7-5 is the only one I'm just calling with, because I have some kind of a backdoor draw and I don't necessarily want to put too much money in with such a terrible kicker. Yeah. Mid pairs, I can be calling here. Weak pairs, I can be calling. Ace highs. I think on ace highs, I could be making this call. Flush draws, gut shots, overcards. What are they? Just a few of them. King 8. Queen 10, yeah, I could be calling one street. It's just a min raise. Although I prefer here, I really do like raising as just a bluff against these two in such a tiny pot on a hard to hit board. Yep, I really do like raising, but I just called, and these are possibly in my calling range. If I would have raised here, I would totally put flush draws, open endeds, gut shots. I could have put the gut shots in my raising range as well. So these hands that I'm checking right now are in my calling range and my raising range as well. I would have to say, yeah. So look at that. My passivity didn't allow me to narrow my range much at all either. 85% of my pre-flop range, 85, and 91% right here of the pre-flop range. Yeah, so as it stands, this super passive, weak play by all of us on the flop here means that I have the worst range, so of course I'm furthest behind. And now that we've removed some of those stronger overcards here, it looks like the second range, the one that decided to bet, that has all of these stronger cards in their range, has the most equity right now. Yep. Turn gives us, another 6. Fun stuff. 6 of spades on the turn. Let's see what that does to equities real quick. It's running the Monte Carlo, I'm sure millions of simulations, and we'll stop it now. 41% for that middle range that has all those sets and stuff. Well, sets now turned into full houses, of course. Yeah, so they're way ahead at this point. Let's see what happens. Let's see if they choose, if Katie chooses to bet again. Just a min bet. I mean, a call and then a call. Man, the two of us are just playing super weak. Katie, we bet just a quarter. If Katie's going for value, she really should be betting more. I mean, why take the risk that we're just going to call behind again? I mean, we could have a couple of diamonds, and you're risking just a call. If we have diamonds, we're going to call a quarter. If we have diamonds, we're going to call $1 on this board right here if we don't believe that you have anything. So I would have liked a bigger value bet. But it's possible Katie could be betting for value just to min bet again. So really, I've got to keep the quads, the full house. I've got to keep this stuff in again. I don't like the bet. If she's going for value, she should be betting for more because we're willing to pay more on this board. I believe so. So over pairs could be in top pairs. Weak pairs could just be making some super lame bluff again. Ace highs could be making a bluff again. No flush draw, or not no flush draw, I'm sorry. Gut shots. And the overcards could be betting again too, because on that undercard 6, sure, it paired the board, but if Katie thought on the flop that her king queen might be good if she hits her king or queen, she can bet again thinking that, hey, river king or queen still makes me good. Nobody necessarily has to have a 6 here. So I've got to put all those in. So look at that. We're keeping her range really wide with a tiny little weak min-donk bet there. And then now, of course, as we saw, Cat Eyes Gal just called. So really on that 6, they don't have any nut hands. They've got to be betting to put money in the pot. They do not have 3 of a kind. Over pairs, just possible, just 8s and 9s still. They called on the flop with that. They could call again. Top pair, yep, that's still in. Weak pairs, totally calling another street, thinking that, what is it, KD is bluffing on the turn again. Ace highs could be calling again, just hoping, hey, if my ace was good on the flop, it's good on the turn still. Open airs, gut shots, and then possible overcards again. Wow, we are not narrowing ranges at all. We're basically just capping everybody's range. That's basically what we're doing here. We're just constantly removing the tops of everybody's ranges because the betting is so freaking weak. And of course, I just call. I make a super weak bet. So of course, I don't have any of the strong hands. I do not have 3 of a kind. There's no way I would just be calling on any random 6 right here. No freaking way. King, queen, 9, and 8, 6. No way. I don't have over pairs. The only top pair I have now is a 7 with a 5 kicker. Yeah, I can call that one again. Weak pairs, I can call. Ace highs, I can call. Gut shots and overcards again. So look at that. I mean, I'm still calling with the overcards. If I thought I was possibly good on the flop, I'm still good on the turn for just a quarter to try to win 250 total. You can see I only needed 10% equity right here. So really, it's an easy call, but I think it's an even better bluff raise right now. I think on the flop would have been a great raise, and then on the turn again would have been a great bluff raise. 2 streets right there. I should have bluffed. So we're at, oh man, look how many combos still. 235 in this range. 651 over here. Holy cow, you're the one doing the betting, so they still have all these in their range. Although, you know something? Before we do this, just betting a quarter, we didn't raise on the flop. Why would you bet? I think you would bet bigger with quads. I think they'd bet bigger with full houses. 3 of a kind, all those random 6s. You've got to bet 50 cents, right? I mean, you're a short stacker wanting to make some money. You've got to bet more. Let's remove that. 2 streets in a row, min betting is going to cap their range as well, let's say. So we dropped them down to 590 hands still. Yeah, but look at that. And then look, yep, all of my top range, or my range is capped, removed all the top parts of my range. So now that we finalized everybody's turn ranges on this weak bet and 2 calls, we're at 26, 37, and 36% equity right here. So really, it's anybody's game at this point. We're all playing so passively. We're probably just hoping for some kind of a draw to come in. I highly doubt we all have the diamond draws. It's possible 2 of us have diamond draws, and the other one has like 8, 9 for an open ender kind of a thing. Or just a random 7 as well, betting and calling there. We've got the ace of clubs on the river. So let's just see just that card real quick. What does it do to equities? Doesn't change much at all. 44% still, 30 and 26. So Cat Eyes Gal. Yeah, Cat Eyes Gal has the best chance right here of having a decent hand on this river. Because Cat Eyes Gal had all those aces still in. Whereas, oh, you did as well. Interesting. Okay. Yep. Let's see here. So what is the action? Min bet again. Oh my gosh. Nobody has a great hand. We've all got a weak pair. Nobody's calling with just an 8, 9 now. So we've got lots of 7s and maybe under pairs, 4s and 5s. And I don't think anybody, it's possible you min bet with that ace right there. What are you min betting, Katie, with your ace? Not with your ace, with that river ace, I mean to say. Yep. Why not? Why not all of this stuff? Once again, you're just making a triple barrel min bluff, possibly. So yeah, I would say that you have a full 100% of your range right here. Even the two pair, what is the two pair? Oh, sevens with the sixes? Yeah, even those aren't going to feel too confident. You're just going to min bet again. And then Cat Eyes Gal, whoops, Cat Eyes Gal decided to call, and I just called. Let's see what that does to our ranges right here. You just make the call. Yeah, seriously. We all have the same range that we had. I wouldn't say there's any difference whatsoever. And I called again. I'm just going to say I have 100% of my same range. Man, we all play this one so passively. Yep. Let's see what happens. Pocket eights makes sense, right? Kept that eights in the range. Min betting on 3 streets with the overpair on the flop, overpair on the turn, weak overpair on the flop on the turn, and then just continuing it, maybe treating it as a blocking bet on the river right there. So that makes sense, Katie. Ace deuce suited. Ace deuce suited is in the range right here because we had them calling with an ace high on the flop in the turn, and now suddenly, of course, they called with 100% of their range, and they hit a top pair, but it's a super weak kicker. It's even two pair actually, aces and sixes with the 7 kicker. Yeah, the deuce doesn't even play, doesn't even count. Makes sense. And then what do I have? Ace 4 suited. I removed ace 4 suited at some point. When did I remove ace? Oh, no, I had ace 4. I never had it in the first place. So ace 4 suited, I guess, is in my over limping button range. I think that was a terrible play on my part. I think I screwed up. I should have made this $1 or $1.25 just to isolate Cat Eyes Gal right here. And then look at that. I flop a nut flush and I don't raise. Man, it's very possible. What I've noticed recently is that when I'm playing 5 or 6 tables, I get pretty passive on some of my tables, especially when I'm focused on a 3rd or a 4th or the 6th table that I'm playing. This could have been one of those instances where I was playing 6 tables. I had a big decision on another table. This was a tiny limped pot, so I just played it super passively until I hit a hand. And even when I hit an ace on the river, I didn't bet. I mean, I might have just been checked out and my attention was elsewhere, is my guess on this hand. So, but that's a good lesson to learn. When I play too many tables, I can check out on the action on some tables, especially when it doesn't look like it's an important hand. As soon as there's a 2-bet preflop or a 3-bet preflop, or as soon as people start c-betting 2/3 or 3/4 pot, that's when my attention gets focused on it. But if it's just limping and somebody's min-betting the whole time, I think this is just distracted play on my part. Should have raised pre, should have raised on the flop. 2 times I didn't. I could have taken this pot down then. Although Katie would have stayed in, but I would have rivered my ace in 1. Cat Eyes Gal probably would have folded on the flop, or at least on the turn. If I had raised on the flop and then barreled the turn, Cat Eyes Gal would have folded. So I would have taken this pot down. Instead, as it is, aces and sixes, we chop. Yeah, Cat Eyes Gal and I chopped. All right, so that was pretty interesting. But, as you can see, let me bring up that poker tracker for again. As you can see, really, there's not many hands multi-way to look at with some crazy action. We haven't looked at the big blind yet. This might be something. If there's any hands worth check call, check fold, check call, bet. Man, there's no action worth looking at in these 3-handed. Oh, check, but no, that's not worth looking at. Oh, it might be. Yeah, maybe I'll come back and do this big blind next time. What about small blind? Are there any good hands to look at? Because really, these multi-way pots, that's interesting. I'd like to hear from anybody watching right now. If you filter the same thing I did, 3 people at Showdown, if you have hands with some crazy action, I'd love to hear them. And then, hey, you know what would be cool? Is if you had a hand with some crazy action, send me the hand history without the final hands so that I can do a hand reading. That would be pretty cool on the 66 days to do hand reading from other people's hands. So, hey, I'll make that request right now. I'll also do it in the next day at the very beginning. If you have a hand history that you want me to read, the hero and the villain, send it to me. Don't send me the results, and, we'll see what we see. Alrighty, y'all. Thank you very much for watching day 25 of 66. Peace out.